This is DX Central Live. 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 This is DX Central Live.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world.
This is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Good evening and welcome to DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios. Lloyd Van Horn with you this evening on a about to be chillier. It's chilly now here in Louisiana, but it's going to be even chillier as we head into the week. So you know what that means? DX, baby. What a week we've had. I had no idea what to expect from our expanded band efforts this week, and you know what to expect we would see. You guys have blown me away this week. We're approaching 500 loggings in 1 week on the expanded band, which is just downright amazing. So kudos to all of you for all of your efforts and digging in there and really seeing what's on the expanded band. I've had a blast this week. It's because it's one of those areas on the band that I don't really feel like I spend a lot of time on, right? I'm usually down low on the low end looking for Latin stations, or I'm on a regional channel or a graveyard or whatever. But those expanded band frequencies, man, they can be a lot of fun if you just spend some time in there. And I've added some new ones to the log this week, which was great. And hopefully you guys have as well. So we're gonna celebrate that. Be sure to let us know in the chat if you've added anything new to your logbook, a state, a country, maybe a log, whatever it might be. Let us know what you've added. We'll celebrate with you right here, as we like to do. Of course, we're going to be announcing our new frequency for the week here in a bit. I haven't figured out yet what that's going to be. So we're going to kind of give that some thought here over the next little bit as we prepare for our 9 o'clock hour when we announce our new frequency. So you guys got some time to put in some suggestions if you want to, or some guesses of what you think it might be. But we'll get that in here in just a bit. So obviously we're about just under a minute away from our big top of the hour time frame when IDs are going to be coming in. So with the expanded band being what it is, that we're not just on a single frequency tonight, we're going to take a look and kind of hop around a bit on a couple of different frequencies. We're going to start on, let's see, what frequency was I thinking about here in this expanded band that needed some attention here in Mandeville? Let's see, 1650 is probably not a bad one. Let's start on 1650. It's probably going to be Iowa, maybe a little bit of Arkansas, but that's one that we've been kind of chasing a couple of others and haven't really brought anything else in yet. So we'll take a look at that and see if we can pull some stuff in. Obviously, after we kind of record the top of the hour, since we're in the Jaguar Pro software, we can bounce around a little bit and see what else was there on maybe some of the other expanded band frequencies. I do have a quick announcement before we get into our live DX. We're actually going to be moving nights. So some schedule changes here on the DX Central front from our side here in Mandeville. So we're actually moving nights. So this is our last Saturday night. We're going to keep the exact same time slot, but we're moving to Sunday nights. That's right. We're going to be moving to Sunday nights here on DX Central Live. Just a couple little things we need to kind of juggle on some scheduling front. So from now on, be sure to be ready Sunday nights at 1945 Central, 145 UTC. And that's when we'll be doing DX Central Live. So we'll be putting some announcements out on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. But this is our last Saturday night DXC Live. We're moving to Sundays starting next week. So if you have little reminders or whatever it might be, make sure you let us, or make sure you update those. That Sunday night, 1945 Central Time, 0145 UTC. That's going to be our new time frame for DX Central Live, and our same time frame, but our new night. So let's dive into the DX. As always, our live AM DX is brought to you by our good friends of the National Radio Club, and it's time for a little top of the hour alert. As we dive into our first frequency of the night, we're going to dive into 1650 and bounce around a little bit. Let us know what you're hearing in the chat. We'll be sure to, like I said, celebrate if you have anything new that you've added this week during our expanded band coverage. And if you have somewhere you want us to check out tonight, Pop it in the chat. Let us know.
They certainly did not want to be in coming out of the locker room.
So we're here on 1650. We have two stations we've heard so far this week. We've heard WCNZ up in Cedar Falls. We've heard KFSW in Fort Smith. So those are the two we've heard here on 1650. Let's see what else we can hopefully maybe get. Did see a note here in the chat. James Niven wants to know, anyone have Morse code on 1650 this week? Yes. I think the Morse code is spelling out TVS. And from all of my research and talking to some other folks, it is an undetermined location of where this thing is coming from. It's some beacon, possibly South America, but no one seems to know in all the people I've asked. So if anyone has heard anything detailed about it or can point me to a website that talks more about it, send that my way. But as of I know, TVS is a beacon from somebody somewhere. But it's not listed on any database anywhere that I've seen. All right, so we've got what sounds like a sports broadcast here. That is Cedar Falls.
Through the neutral zone, deflected by Eastliff down to the side of the Hawk net. Prado moves it left of his goal for Brunette.
And it sounds like I've got...
And recovered by Eastliff after a deflection. The Musketeers can dump it back in once
possibly that gospel in the background, which would be Fort Smith. We're currently on the Jaguar Pro software on the Perseus with our north-south CAS antenna 16x53 and the 330-degree north orientation. We also do still have, also ready to roll tonight, we have our Elad FDM S3 over here on SDR Console. We're going to pop that up to 1650 as well. And we also have KCNZ there on the northwest wire, 305 degrees. And on 35 degrees, they're still there too. So definitely some power on those guys tonight.
Robertson plays it clockwise behind the goal. Gratton stopping it there for the Musketeers and reversing it for Malice. Harassed, Hawks steal. Robertson, left wing board.
So nothing underneath them right now here on the Elad. So let's go back to the Perseus and see what we can hear. I'm guessing that's going to be Fort Smith.
Wedges it away. He was hooked, and it looked like O'Connell got away with one there. Puck back at the blue line as the Hawks keep it in. Now O'Connell left corner, dips below the icing line. O'Connell turning and couldn't center it. But now does drop it to Kostelecki, shoots, and a save off of a deflection by a Sioux City defender. Mangbo still made the stop. Duran fires one off the glass. It lands back to the Blackhawk line. Tucker Ness with a dump in. It bounces down to the end wall. Ness trying to get back to it himself. He and Antonacci.
Rick says we got Sioux City Waterloo hockey here on KCNZ.
Brunette that makes the dump in. Irie and Shifty
sounds about
into
right.
The corner at the left of Prado. And the Hawks get numbers back.
Of course, last week during the broadcast, we added a new one here on 1660. We added KQWB up in West Fargo, which was a little bit thrilling, as you guys probably saw. So we got a mess of stuff here. Let me check that. 1670 has been Dry Branch, Georgia. That's all I've gotten here so far. We did have this station in Reynosa that we think we might have testing, which is possibly what we have here. Mike, I'm not sure if you've seen this one testing at like 0408, like halfway up like that. 1680, we've had pretty much OKB and KRJO, nothing else. Sounds like we got Monroe in there now. And there's OKB. Oh, sorry, Mike. On 1670, that station that we think is testing down in Reynosa, are they typically around this like .0408 or around 1670.04, somewhere in there?
A young female academic and pastor is Olympic candidate wanting to succeed retiring U.S. Congressman African-American Bobby Rush. The Black Information Network's Morgan Wood has more. Reverend Dr. Stephanie Rose Spalding credits her political aspirations and success to attending an HBCU for her undergraduate studies.
1690's been doing WMLB out of Avondale Estates, Georgia. We did get VON out of Berlin, so you guys mentioned that earlier. Got them once, 1700. You see what I've got.
Stay calm.
Although I have been able to get rid of them a little bit.
2. Activate your hazard lights to alert others that your vehicle is in trouble. 3.
And I've managed to get KKLF, I've managed to get EUP and JCC down
if your
in
vehicle
Florida has
cannot make
evaded
it,
me so
stop
far.
in the right lane
As
as close as you can
has
to the curb.
Brownsville. Neither one of those have come in.
Have all
EUP and
passengers
KKLF,
exit and
I
stand on
think
the
I remember
curb to
getting
the rear of the
KBGG.
vehicle. This puts you out of the crash zone if your vehicle is rear-ended. 6. Contact the Causeway Police by calling star
maybe not.
CP.
I thought I had.
That's 27 on the
We
number
did
pad.
have Wisconsin down 1640 this week.
835-3116. 7. While on the curb behind your vehicle, wave
So
approaching traffic
that's what we've had
to the
so
left
far.
lane.
And then on the other end, 1610 is just Ben, Ontario. That's it. I'm disappointed. I really wanted to get some TIS stations in here, and I have heard nothing on this frequency from TIS stations. 1620 has been pretty much Rebeldy and NRP and WTAW. I don't think, no, I haven't gotten Bellevue yet. So these two here, College Station and Gulf Breeze and Rebeldy, that's all I've gotten so far. 1620, 1630, we had KCJJ, we've gotten GM, nothing out of Wyoming, unfortunately. It was something I was chasing after. 1640, we, I'm on 50 now, all right. 1640, we've gotten KZLS out of Enid. We've gotten TNI out of Biloxi, as you might imagine. We did manage to get Wisconsin this week. Nothing out of Utah. A little disappointed on that. And that's about that. We talked about the rest of them. So that's where we've been. That's where we've been this week.
So come have lunch or dinner at one of the Golden Chicks in Enid today. Do you have the right insurance coverage to weather any storm, disaster, or incident? If your answer is no, then you need Enid Insurance Agency. If you drive a big rig,
So
you
let's
need
pop
Enid
back up to
Insurance
1650.
6 points behind Waterloo. And if the Hawks don't rally in this one, Fargo could be closer than that when they arrive next Friday. And that could really make for some big standings implications. The penalties offset, and based on there not being any time put up on the penalty clocks, I'd say 5 minutes for fighting, 10-minute misconduct for both Van Sickle and Bergmanis.
And
the teams 5
even
on
with the
5,
Vactrol here,
10:21 left
just
to go.
really pulling in pretty much nothing other than KC and Z here. On
Stock
1650,
Connor Schneider
same on the
and
other
O'Connell.
antennas. It's really just pretty much
Three black box
KC and
forwards
Z.
from right
So,
to left.
and
The
that's what we've
restart
pretty
just
much had all
outside the
week,
black box blue
and all
line.
the checks that I've done. Maybe there may be a couple of stations here and there that I haven't been able to pull out that are kind of under the surface a bit, but.
And this faceoff is won by the Musketeers. Smith lifts it up the glass and to the end boards behind the Hawk net.
So, Earl, did you say
wall,
you've gotten Cuba daytime from St. Louis this week?
Reversing to Easlip behind the goal. Bounced off the boards by Ness.
And we're going to guess the frequency. I'm going to say...
Play continues as they get disentangled. Meanwhile, the puck to Robertson. Flies one high in the air that goes off. From him almost came to Kostelecki, but he
530.
just overstated it.
Maybe 570 with one of the reloads, or 870 with the reload, maybe?
Ness will send it off the end board.
530 would be a good guess. I get them daytime here.
City wraps it around the wall, tapped out to center. Deck cut.
1620 possibly
right wing, going wide
would be a good one. I think that's a good guess, Rob.
To knock it away, but recovered by the Musketeers. Duran mishandled it, and Connor Schneider escorts it back to his blue line, then makes a turn.
2 p.m. today, Radio Rebellion on 1620, fighting Omaha. Wow.
It missed Mango behind the net. Jake Snyder gets to it and had nowhere to go.
Wow, wow.
Musketeers tap it to the line and now bring it to center.
That's impressive. Usually you don't see a lot of those upper end frequencies travel that well during the daytime. I did hear 1610 in Canada once during the middle of the day in Charleston, but that was dead winter when it was like super long nights.
Shifty drops it in front. He was trying to find Rossi. It was broken up. Jake Snyder trying to get it back and could not keep it away from Antonacci. Sends it up off the ceiling. Play stops with 8:45 left to go in the third period. Timeout on the ice. Face-off will stay in the Sioux City zone. 4-1 Musketeers were back in 30 seconds on the courtyard by Marriott, Blackhawks Network, and 1650 the Fan.
We should be getting an ID here.
We have something for all seasons. This is Ted from Ted's Home and Hardware in Evansville. This is hockey season, and you know we're proud supporters of the Blackhawks. Be part of the Blackhawks family and stop into our family-owned and operated store for value and the products you need for your home and property.
Find DeWalt power and hand tools to help take on those tough jobs you need to get done. For over 90 years, DeWalt tools, guaranteed tough. Sioux City 4, Waterloo 1 getting late. The Blackhawks were within a goal when the period started, but it's been a solid third from Sioux City. They have limited the Blackhawks to just 4 shots on goal in the third period. 8:45 left to play. Face-off will be in the Musketeer end to the stick side of Axel Mangbo. The Hawks have Jeanette.
Oh, they didn't do a
Brown.
10-second ID there, did
has
they?
been most consistent when it's come to generating opportunities.
So let's
Ness
rewind a bit here,
them.
top of the hour time, and see what we got on 1620. All I've got is Rebellion here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm over here adjusting the vactrol like it's going to make a difference when I'm playing back. I'm stupid. I forget sometimes. So now I'm back to live again. We're going, why is the vactrol not doing anything? I've got a basketball game, I'm assuming that's what this is. Possibly TAW in College Station. Rebeldy's down there, in there too. Too many toys. Never. I actually added a new one this week. I'll talk about that in a bit. Not for AM, but a new toy for the shack. Yeah, that's got to be College Station. SEC going against South Carolina, Texas A&M. Tonight we're being powered by water. Nothing exciting tonight, ladies and gents. I'm guessing that's NRP. If I remember right, they're at 95.3. Them. Yep, that's them. And now I've got an echo in my headset. All right.
And a lot of people know.
Yeah, Rick, that was Gulf Breeze, WNRP, Florida. I'll go back. I'm trying to remember where it was. Yeah, that's the WNRP, Gulf Breeze. Let's go now to 1630. See what we had here at the top of the hour. Wow, we had a whole lot of nothing. We had KGM in there. So there was a whole lot of nothing on 1630 here. We had BIN Dallas and maybe KCJJ underneath. Maybe. That's about it. So we go live.
Was directing the movie, and I asked him if he felt a higher sense of responsibility in telling this story.
So that's Dallas.
The dark place is so much darker. Pain is so much darker.
I asked being a candidate
With KCJJ underneath.
Of course. It hit every note that I personally tried to hit in my book. I think it's magical.
I really wanted Wyoming.
Michael B. Jordan tells me why A Journal for Georgie is the perfect movie to see.
You know, I think the portrayal of a black love story, the way this.
And I wanted El Salvador this week too. I've heard it before here, but it's been a while. I wanted to add an air check or something.
And create a family, and then go through hardship and tragedy, but still have a beautiful silver lining at the end of it. I think is truly important.
Yeah, that was a tough one this week. Let's see what we had on 1640. Back at the top of the hour.
Free quote today.
Oklahoma's new home for talk radio. We are go. The Eagle has landed. The new Eagle 96.9.
So there was, this was top of the hour. That's Enid on 1640. Nice ID out of them.
Oklahoma's new home for talk radio. We are go. The Eagle has landed. The new Eagle 96.9.
this hour. Townhall.com, I'm Ron DeRockstra. He's back on the stump, maybe. Hello, Texas. It's great to be
So there you go. That was ZLS. And let's go back top of the hour, or rather live now. There's Sublime. That's got to be Bob FM here over in Biloxi. Probably ZLS there. Talk. Let's see if we've got a...
Well, I don't think people realize anything about the Olympics. The Olympics are down, and people turn them on and they start watching. This is different. 1936 only.
That off-frequency sounding music. TNI is off-freak. About 0.1, 0.2. 1680. Let's go look at 1680. They usually do, like a Haitian programming. They usually do. Let me go to the northeast, southwest over here on the Elad. And we're going to jump out of top of the hour time because we're out. You're looking at 1680.
In the meantime, it's 14 minutes on the downside of 9. One more time for the brothers over here. With it, this means things are based on the instruments you use to measure them. I don't care about the instrument right now.
There you go. That's okay, B. This is on the southeast wire. Pretty much pointing right at him. I've got two main stations here on 1680. Monroe, OKB, and then this other one. I have a third. I don't know who it would be. I haven't heard anybody else. Maybe it's Michigan, or maybe it's New Jersey. Let's go back to my spectra here. You see, I have a third trace right here. The fourth and the fifth are super weak, but I've got this nice third one over here. I have no idea who that is.
I can fly.
You don't have to call us darling, darling. Our name is Classic Country 99.7, The Legend.
There's Monroe. Northeast wire. I was hoping to get New Jersey there this week. Nothing.
At 60 minutes on the downside of 9, I gotta get back into this one. And I'm going to make sure that I live in the place. So get me. If you're out there and you're not on the plus side, you see, and if you think depends on the
that's OKB.
On a night like this, even if your significant other is a trendy, on the plus side, right?
All right, so there we go. There's our kind of start here on our live DX session, top of the hour on the expanded band, to kind of start getting close to wrapping up this week. It's been so much fun. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do some more live AM DX. And then as we get closer to the top of the hour, we're going to be announcing our new frequency of the week. So we have another frequency to dive into and have some fun in. I think I know which one I'm going to pick, and I think it's one that you guys are going to enjoy. So let's take a quick break when we come back. More DX right here on DX Central Live. Take care. We'll be right back.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor Member Bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
DX Central Live, right here on YouTube. Right now, our last Saturday night. And what do I mean by that, our last Saturday night? Well, in case you missed the announcement earlier, we're actually moving nights. We're not going to be on Saturdays anymore. Where are we going to? Sunday nights. We're going to be doing Sundays moving forward here on DX Central Live. Same time, 7:45 Central, 8:45 Eastern, 1:45 UTC. But we're going to be doing the Sunday night DX Central Live. So no more on Saturday nights starting next week. So this is our last Saturday night broadcast. Next week, we move to Sunday nights. I'll be putting some reminders out through social media and the blog and the reflectors and whatnot, but you guys heard it here first. No more Saturday nights. We're moving to where? Sunday, starting next week. So got a couple folks in here trying to guess our next frequency of the week. We have a guest from James of 670. Rob thinks 930. Those are good ones. Give me something to think about. We'll take a look and see. We do have some ideas. I have some ideas what I want to use for this next week. We'll be announcing it as we get closer to the top of the hour here. Remember, we close out our expanded band loggings at 0300 UTC, which is 9 o'clock Central Time. Basically, top of the hour here. We close out the expanded band, and we will be announcing our new frequency and opening up the loggings for that one.
So if you guys have a guess of what you think it might be, hit the chat, let me know. But let's get back to the DX. So we can still do some more here in the expanded band. This live DX session is brought to you by the National Radio Club. NationalRadioClub.org is where you want to go for more information about becoming a member today. And make sure that you tell them you heard about it here on DX Central. And that always reminds me, I need to send in my renewal. And then as soon as I walk away from the stream, I forget. So Wayne, if you're out there, if you're watching, I promise you, I'm going to get that over to you. I'm going to get my renewal to you. I just keep forgetting. We're here. We're playing around the expanded band right now. Let's do something fun. Let's actually switch over to the Elad FDMS3. And I think I want to give this a shot. I want to show you guys how I can get rid of my local TIS using phasing. So this is a little technique. It's a little more of an advanced technique for DX. So if you don't have a phaser currently, you need 2 antennas and a phasing box. I have a couple of phasing boxes here, and each one will operate just a little bit differently than the rest. This is one of those phasing boxes. It's an MFJ 1026, and this is one that I actually modified to be able to use it on AM, because as it comes from MFJ, it has a pass filter to block out the AM band, basically. So you have to remove that band pass. So we did that. I have a video up on the YouTube channel here to kind of talk a bit about that, so make sure you check that out. Talks about how to do the mod, then also how to use the MFJ 1026 as well. So make sure you check that out. And then I also have here a kind of a more, not a commercially built, but I have a hand-built by another DXer that made this for me. It's a Langford MISAC phaser. Now, traditionally, what most phasing units need to do, and the Quantum phaser does this, the MFJ does this, is you have 2 different antennas that come in, and you have to basically match the signal level of what you're hearing that you want to get rid of by adjusting the gain of each antenna on your phaser. To get it to that level where, okay, now the signal level over on this antenna is matching the signal over on this antenna, so now I can introduce phase and try to phase that out. The difference on this Langford MISAC phaser is it actually comes in from 2 antennas with the same amount of gain. So it assumes you've already got the same amount of gain coming in from both of your signals, and then you adjust the phase on each individual antenna to be able to do your phasing that way. So it's a little bit different in the Langford MISAC. Took me a little bit of time to get used to it, but it works really, really well. Cuts it down the amount of time that it's required to get a good phase. But a lot of the characteristics here are pretty similar. So definitely watch the video up on the YouTube channel here on the MFJ 1026. There's some information there on how to do phasing. But we're going to try now to get rid of our local TIS station here in Mandeville on 1700 and see what's underneath. Because we've heard a couple of stations here so far this week on 1700 underneath them when we did phase out the TIS. So let's go ahead and go over here to the Elad FDMS3.
This is a free call.
So I've got one here.
Emergencies on the Causeway Bridge can be chaotic. Knowing what to do,
I've got a Spanish station underneath.
Less frightening.
This is on my northwest southeast wire,
Stay calm.
predominantly northwest.
This allows you to think more clearly. 2. Activate your hazard lights to alert others that your vehicle is in trouble. 3. Drive to the nearest crossover or shoulder. Even with a flat tire, the safest place is out of the roadway. 4. If your vehicle cannot make it, stop in the right lane as close as you can to the curb. 5.
Trying to
Have
use my
all
vactrol
passengers
here
exit and stand on the curb to the rear of the
get
vehicle.
their signal down
this
a
puts
bit.
you out of the crash zone if your vehicle
So
is
basically,
rear-ended. 6.
This is a signal. It's coming in on the northwest side of my northwest southeast CAS, and so at this point now I'm kind of trying to get rid of as much of the southern side as I can, and this antenna is roughly to my southwest, roughly southwest, like a minute from my house. So not too far. So now we're going to go over, that's the northwest, southeast. Let's look at the northeast, southwest. And again, we've got the variable resistor on that one on the southwest side. So let's see what we can get on the northeast side.
Please remember, always be alert, be safe, and be courteous.
So that's the other antenna. So let's get rid of them.
While driving on the causeway, if you observe anyone driving in an unsafe
there are
manner,
two.
you can report this.
A lot of your phasers are going to have, you're phasing one way, and then you can do a reverse switch to actually reverse the polarity and try to phase the other way. This is no different. It's just kind of built in as an antenna selector switch that he put in for me, so I'm just going to switch between those two. So let's go back, and I'm going to try the first one. If that doesn't work, then we're going to switch to the other selection on the switch here. It will be a reverse and see if we can phase them that way. It just depends. Sometimes you have to do one or the other.
Shoulder. Even with a flat tire, the safest place is
dialing
out
them
of the roadway. 4. If your vehicle cannot make it, stop in the right lane as close as you can to the curb. 5. Have all passengers exit and stand on the curb to the rear of the vehicle. This puts you out of the crash zone if your vehicle is rear-ended. 6.
And what I was looking for there was a dip. As I moved my knobs, I'm looking for a dip in the signal level of that station. I didn't see one, really. I got rid of the Spanish station, but I didn't see any dip on the local. So now we're flipping the polarity. We're going reverse. Let's see what happens now.
8. Causeway police and motorist assist units are en route. Expect emergency personnel to arrive in under 5 minutes. 9. Follow instructions by emergency personnel. Their goal is to keep you safe. Please remember, always be alert, be safe, and be courteous.
While driving on the causeway, if you observe anyone driving in an unsafe manner, you can report this to Causeway Police by calling area code 504-835-116. This is a free call.
Emergencies on the Causeway Bridge can be chaotic. Knowing what to do will make the situation less frightening. 1. Stay calm.
Here we go.
Trouble. 3. Drive to the nearest crossover or shoulder. With a flat tire, the safest place is out of the roadway. 4. If your vehicle cannot make it, stop in the right lane as close as you can to the curb. 5. Have all passengers exit and stand on the curb to the rear of the vehicle. This puts you out of the crash zone if your vehicle is rear-ended. 6. Contact the Causeway Police by calling star CP, that's 27 on the number pad, or 504-835-3116. 7.
It can be tricky sometimes to get
behind
dragged
your
on.
vehicle, wave approaching traffic to the left lane. 8. Causeway Police and motorist assist units are en route. Expect emergency personnel to arrive in under 5 minutes. 9. Follow instructions by emergency personnel. Their goal is to keep you safe. Please remember, always be alert, be safe, and be courteous.
I lost it. Let me try it again.
While driving on the causeway, if you observe anyone driving in an unsafe manner, you can report this to Causeway Police by calling area code 504-835-3116. This is a free call.
Emergencies on the Causeway Bridge can be chaotic. Knowing what to do will make the situation less frightening. 1. Stay calm. This allows you to think more clearly. 2. Activate your hazard lights to alert others that your vehicle is in trouble. 3. Drive to the nearest crossover or shoulder, even with a flat tire.
Here we go.
4.
Don't touch it. Maybe a little. Got him. All right, but the phaser completely got rid of my local TIS station. And now let's see what we got. Should be KKLF in Richardson. They're completely gone now.
Now, there's a tiny bit in there, tiny bit. But there you go. That's the magic of a phaser. And I can do the same thing with this MFJ, by the way. It takes a little bit different amount of work, but I can do this exact same thing with my MFJ. Quantum phaser is packed up somewhere. If you have a frequency you want us to check out, let us know in the chat. Be sure to let us know. But otherwise, we're going to be bouncing around here in the expanded band. Again, this is, we've nulled out our local TIS station here in Mandeville. If I was on a tall tree, I could probably see their tower that has this thing. Only 10 watts, but... Looking for who's playing Heart, Mike? So Rob, on that, I have two antennas that I have coming in, both of the CASs. I have the northeast, southwest, and the northwest, southeast. So it really just kind of depends on, you have to be able to hear the signal in both, right? So it just depends on what I'm trying to get rid of as to kind of which one will need more phasing, usually. Here for a second and do some more here. Got reports you're hearing Jefferson Airship, Starship Airship, Jefferson Airplane, Starship, Air, whatever, as they continue to change their name. Airplane, Starship, Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, and then just Starship, right? Wasn't that the evolution of it? So on 1700, hearing some non-Spanish, non-TIS. Let me see if I hear them underneath here on my my Perseus.
Emergencies on the Causeway Bridge can be chaotic. Knowing what...
So, no, all I've got is the Spanish station. Um, 1710, I have actually not heard anything this week on 1710. Here's my northeast wire. I got nothing. Yeah, I got nothing on 1710 all week. All right, Rick. My old radio days served me well. Those little pieces of fun, useless music trivia actually paying off. So yeah, I've heard nothing on 1710 at all this week. Let me switch back over to the Perseus, just to double check.
Follow instructions by...
Whole lot of nothing on 1710 this entire week, so not surprised there. Carl says had a Cuban. This is always my favorite topic, Latins. Carl had a Cuban on 690, which seemed parallel to 640. So let's talk a bit about that. So I'm going to pull up. I think we have a Progresso there, don't we? Cuba. Yeah, we do. I'm going to give you guys a website here. This is medium wave list. Do a Google search. Medium wave MW list. Quick and easy. That's what you're looking for, is the quick and easy. And that's going to give you a list that looks like this. So this shows you every station that's reported to be on a frequency, right? It helps out. It's not just U.S., not just Canada, it's everything. So that's what I use it for, is really the international stuff. But you'll see here, you have Cuba, Radio Progresso, 600, 630, 640, 650, 660, and so on. All these little frequencies here are where they're parallel. So you can do that, right? You can run, let me go to 640 on my northwest southeast wire. Let me go to 640. Now, I'm not going to be able to do you a 690 here because I have a local on 690. I'd have to phase them out. But now, if I was to go to 690, if I didn't have a local on 690, I would hear Progresso there as well. I don't have that one, but I do have 890.
That Bucks lost because we saw them almost literally fumble this away so many times. I mean, Matt Stafford in that final drive when he tried to rush, I was like, what are you doing? And he almost lost the ball, and I thought that was hilarious because I definitely...
So they're underneath WLS here, but they're there.
It's like, oh, you're going to drop the ball. So.
And then if I go to 640... The Latins aren't, well, I am in the north configuration of all of my antennas, so that's why the Latins aren't as loud. Yep. So you should, if you had a parallel, if you were hearing the same thing from 640 and 690, that's a good chance those are in Spanish. It's a good chance that was Progresso out of Cuba. You can listen for their top of the hour little song that they have, which I have an air check up on YouTube. So there you go. Earl, so call signs for Cuban stations, they don't really use them. They are there if they're there. I'll show you here. Let me go back to my medium wave list. You'll see these like CMEC here, right? Those are all pre-Cuban Revolution call signs. But since the Cuban Revolution, they're not really used all that much. It's just ready because they're all stations run by the government, right? So they're Radio Progresso, Radio Victoria, Radio whatever, Rillo, Rebelity, whatever it might be. They don't really use call signs anymore. So when I do my logbook, what I do, you'll see here, this is my Charleston log. I'm going to sort by country here, A to Z. You'll see here, I just use the slogan. And I put in parentheses the frequency because I have duplicate correction or duplicate checking for call signs, so I can't enter the same station twice. So I put those in parentheses. The frequency next to the name. I just use the name. I don't use the call sign because it's not used by them much anymore, and so that's it. That's all. Love them.
You're looking at 1620. It's Rebellion. There's not really a call sign for it. That's why. You may see on some of these, let me go to 550. Is that one where they have one of the call signs for it? Did I click on the wrong one? Oh, on the wrong one, on Europe. 550, yep, they don't put any of those for most of these rebellions that I've seen because it's not used. Cuba doesn't use them. They don't use call signs. Oh, there's one, CMKV. That's probably what you can use. It's the same call sign for all of them, essentially. They don't use them like we do. So, there you go. That's it. Havana Radio Progreso. I wish I had a 690. Actually, I'm going to phase out my local. Let's do this again. Let's phase out my local and see what I can get.
Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God.
I don't know if by phasing I'll be getting to Cuba or not, but I can give it a shot. So I'm going to go over here to my receive. Oops. And now I'm going to go to...
We were...
And get rid of all that. I'm just going to bounce back and forth here. Yeah, I'm hearing them in there. I'm hearing that Progresso outlet in there. That's them. So there you go. See, this is the kind of stuff I love. When you guys are in here in the chat asking questions, wanting to hear stuff, try stuff out, those are always fun. Let me do a really quick one. This week, before I moved my antenna from southern to northern over on our Perseus here, I caught an air check from one of my absolute favorite stations, 1510 Radio Monumental down in Ecuador.
They have to do. He is.
So you have some things here that help you be able to get a station like Radio Monumental. Number one, you have, at least in my area, in most of the eastern half, and even probably the Midwest, because I'm kind of right in the middle, the Midwest U.S. and the eastern U.S., you've got WLAC in Nashville that just, it's like it just clears out the frequency. So since they're so dominant, you can a lot of times hear what's underneath them relative ease. And if there's any fading that happens from that dominant station, that whatever's underneath them has a chance to come up. 1510 is one of those.
And you supported them, their freedom movement?
Now, I'm on my north configuration of this. I'm not even pointing at South America right now. I'm pointing north at 330 degrees. But listen very, very closely. You're going to hear some music in here, and I can tell you it's Ecuador because it's very distinct. There's a very distinct style to their music that they play on this station. Check it out.
You were talking about providing these cognitive problems.
Yes.
Ronnie Jackson.
Yeah, your phone. Unfortunately, Rocker, your phone sucks. Gonna need you to get a better phone. Your phone's breaking up. I couldn't hear you. You said something about Biden's cognitive. Then you said Ronnie Jackson, but I don't know what the words were in between. It was breaking up. Call back if you can, because that wasn't going to get it done. Going to be Dave in Washington. Dave, what's going on? Hi.
Hey, Bags. Well,
hey.
I can either.
And you'll see right here at 996 this signal right here, this trace on the waterfall. That's them. So what I usually do is I'll throw it in the lower sideband to get a little bit away from at least half of the LAC signal. That helps me out, right? So I'm getting away from at least half of their signal.
People's heartstrings about the children. That's why he brings up.
And then I try to use whatever method if I have an antenna in my portable, I'm turning it. If I have my loop outside, I'm turning it. Or here I'm using my vactrol.
For the children, I'm running because we need to help protect our children. When in fact, that's the very party that are doing things against the children. They're causing the inflation, which is hurting people's ability to provide for their children. They're hurting the children's ability to have freedom of choice to go to a school they want to go to because they all want the teachers' unions to support them in the election. So they would rather get that money from the teachers' unions than give freedom of the choice, for parents to say, hey, I want my kid to go to
Don't forget, we are getting ready here in a little bit to close out the week 10 of our medium wave frequency challenge and the expanded band portion. We're getting ready to close that out. So get your logs in now. If you haven't done so, if you have any leftovers that you're still working on getting in, get them in. We're closing that out here at top of the hour.
Keep getting support. So anyway, I think that's the thing. And one last thing, I'd like to see you do an interview with Howard Stern because I think you could do a great interview. And I mean, that would be it would be a can't miss interview, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave. Thanks for always bringing a very cognitive bit of information with your opinion. My bringing up Biden wasn't to say he's doing something that we haven't seen from the liberals and the Democrats. They always say that. We need $5 million for a new library. Why? We don't have $5 million. What about the children? They need a place to read. What about the kids that don't have internet? They need internet. Why don't you love the children? Or we need to do pre-K for everybody. And the taxpayers should pay for it, but only the lowest income people or maybe minority children can go there. And you say, well, wait a second. We're going to do pre-K. It should be for everybody, shouldn't it? Why do you hate minority children? Why do you hate kids? They always play that game. You're right. Always pulling at the emotional heartstrings. The difference is Joe Biden can't control his emotions anymore. So when he says, if you would have come out and said, listen, insulin's important, man.
They're in there.
You're talking about a child's
They're
life.
weak.
Somebody
They're
really
in there.
needs to have this, just to have quality of life. I mean, parents have lost their
you'll
kids.
notice they're very usually unique. I can't really describe the sound of the music that they play on Radio Monumental, but it's very distinct. It stands out very easily, and when you get them in, if I have my antenna pointed south, you can hear them very loud. And because they're slightly off of that carrier frequency, slightly below 1510, throw it in your lower sideband, point your antenna towards South America, you got a shot. And if you sit there long enough, usually LAC will kind of start to fade a little bit, and Monumental comes up. The trick is getting them an ID, if you can get them that way. I used to be able to run them up against their website, but their website stream has been down for a while. I don't know what's going on there. Getting our next frequency ready here. What is that date? So if we're looking at here, the 6th, okay. Oops. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to announce our new frequency for the week. Okay, that'll be one thing. We're going to be in our top of the hour. So we'll be ready to do some live DX on our new frequency. Very excited about that. And then we'll keep on rolling here on DX Central Live. So stay tuned. More DX on your way. And we'll be entering our second hour, which is brought to you by the IRCA, by the way. So thank you to them for being a partner and a friend of DXC Live right here on YouTube. We'll be right back.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teak Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teakpublishing.com for more information. That's teakpublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Love that funky stuff, man. We are back here on DX Central Live, getting ready for hour 2 of our live AMDX. We're going to be closing out our medium wave frequency challenge for the week. We're closing out the expanded band here. I'll be turning off the form here about 7 minutes. How about that? Right at the top of the hour, we'll be closing it out. 0300 UTC. I'm going to go ahead and announce the new frequency now, though. Give you guys a shot because we're about to move to it and start doing DX off of it. Let me just hit my copy button here. There we go. So I can paste this into the chat. Okay. So looking at the chat, speaking of that as well, Earl wants to know if I was talking earlier about Radio Monumental in Ecuador and how unique and kind of how much stands out their music that they have, and if it's anything like Andean flute music or El Condor Pasa by Simon and Garfunkel. One of my favorite songs by them, actually. I love that song. No, it's not. Okay, you know how kind of the chord progressions in those songs work, right? That's that, but like with like more poppy sounding, more contemporary music. So it's not as much like folk music like you would hear like that, or like, you know, those Andean pan flute tapes you might get, which I absolutely love, which is why this is, I consider this to be our, where'd it go? Here it is. I consider this to be our interval signal for DX Central. That's our interval signal, inspired by that. I told you guys the Latin American stuff is my favorite. But no, it's kind of like the kind of how they have those kind of chord progressions, but it's with like guitars and like dun, 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 dun. It's kind of like almost Tejano, but not. It's kind of Ecuadorian Tejano, I guess. I don't know. You have to hear it, and once you hear it, you're like, oh, I know exactly what you mean. There's also a discussion going on here about SDRs. We'll get to that here in a second, because I want to chime in on that one as well. But first, we're going to announce our frequency of the week, and we're going to go to it here on our Perseus.
and get ready for that. By the way, I saw you mention that, Rick, about the Perseus. I got some tips for you on that one. So let's get ready to do our new frequency of the week as we get ready for our top of the hour alert. It is time for our top of the hour alert right here on DX Central Live, and we got to go over here to our red. I didn't forget about that part for you there, Bill. Red alert time, top of the hour ID, and we're doing it on our new frequency of the week, which is 1490. We're going back to that graveyard and digging around a little bit on 1490 kilohertz. The new Google form is in the link, over in the chat rather. So grab that sucker, and we're going to do some graveyard digging on 1490 this week. Let's go. And on that one, Rick, on the song, my understanding is they'd gotten permission from that band to do a version of it, but the band didn't own the copyright. It was a much older song that had the copyright, so Paul had to kind of settle with that copyright holder. But the Los Incas that you're talking about, they were performing the song. He heard it, was like, I want to record that. Let me ask, and just assumed they were the copyright holders, and they weren't. Poor decision on Paul's part to just assume, right? So let's see who we've got here on 1490. It's a strong signal. So far here on 1490 in Mandeville, I have two stations. I have Houma, Louisiana, and I have Biloxi. Houma is usually R&B music. Biloxi is usually like Bob FM type stuff. So this might be something interesting. Bring up our map. Look at all those stations out there for you guys to listen to and log this week. 1490 is such a good freak. Okay, I'll shut up. We're almost top of the hour here.
Health report. Scientists say a new variant, BA2 Omicron, is being watched closely.
We're now seeing a variant that is going to be much more contagious than Omicron and will likely take over the space occupied by the regional variant.
In some countries, BA2 has already demonstrated it spreads rapidly, leaving the unvaccinated at much higher risk of death and serious illness.
Defense officials say Russia has amassed enough troops at Ukraine's border to invade the entire country. CBS's Christina Ruffini.
More American weapons landed in Kyiv this week, where the U.S. has already greenlit the departure of non-essential staff and diplomatic families.
Our message now for any Americans in Ukraine is to strongly consider leaving.
In a passionate press conference yesterday, President Zelensky increased the dialogue links on the U.S. and others working across the world.
All right, so there you go. We added one new one. This actually was a new one to us here in Mandeville, WHOC in Philadelphia, Mississippi. New one in the log. So that was nice to do. Let's go back over here and give us out of top of the hour alert mode. How about that? There you go. So yeah, got to add a new one in there with that nice top of the hour ID they had to CBS News. So pretty excited about that. It's gonna be a fun one this week. So we got the form link over here in the chat. So if you have anything else that you need help with there, let me know. Get you in there. We got the week 10 officially closed out, and we did hit 508 logs in 1 week this week on the expanded band. Kudos, all of you folks. And I know a lot of you folks, I saw some folks added a new country. I think some folks added El Salvador for the first time, so you get a celebration. Yeah. I saw some folks added some new states. I did. So we're going to celebrate that as well, yeah. And I know a lot of folks also got some new logins this week, so you get a celebration as well. And I just got a new one on 1490, so there we go. We got some stuff to celebrate. 508 stations heard in 1 week. Between 1610 and 1710 from you guys. Unbelievable. So we're going to spend some time sorting through all the data on that one over the next little bit here as we get ready to do our usual weekly results that we post on the reflectors and on social media and on our blog as well at our website. So if you haven't been to the website, we definitely want you to do that. It is dxcentralonline.com. It's a great website to go to for things like that, like our weekly results. But also there's a lot of other stuff too. I put up a lot of information on getting started with DX. Excuse me. Get some water here. So how to DX, some gear recommendations. Which brings me back, don't think I forgot about this. You guys talking about SDRs. So I know I saw some talk about the Perseus. I saw some talk about the AirSpy. Here's my thoughts. The Perseus, let's start with that one. You can get it on ham radio outlet for about $750. It's about what I got it for, about $700, $750. I think is what it retails for through HRO. So a ham radio outlet. They're not obviously sponsoring us, so I don't make a dime off of that. I'm just saying that's where I got it. Is it worth $750? It's, approaching, getting close to almost 20 years old, I guess. It was late 2008, 2009, somewhere in there when it came out, I think. So we just crossed over 10 years. We're on almost to the second half of the next one here. So long in the tooth. Is it worth it? If it was just the Perseus by itself, I'd say no. Because there are other SDRs out there that get you very comparable reception quality for a whole lot less. The AirSpy HF Plus Discovery being one of those. I can barely notice a difference between the AirSpy and my Perseus when it comes to receive quality. There's a couple little small nuances there, but they're close enough where one's like $750 and one's about $160, I think it is, retail on the HF Plus. The difference is negligible when you're comparing the price, okay? In fact, the AirSpy is what I use whenever I go portable. Whenever I'm out doing DX, when I go travel, anything, that's the one that comes with me, and I do all my DX on the AirSpy with my portable loop. Where does the value, why do I have a Perseus sitting on my desk? Right here. Why is that what I use? Because I've always wanted one. And most importantly, though, was the software you see on your screen right here, the Jaguar Pro software. That is the entire value to me in purchasing a Perseus in 2022. And the reason for that is because this piece of software here is developed specifically for AMDX. So you've got the maps in here. You've got... there's a ton of features. I'm not going to go into them all right now. This isn't a commercial for the Jaguar Pro software, but it is saying this is the software that I want to use and I prefer to use for my AMDX. The biggest reason why is what you see down there at the bottom right now, that little green line going across the bottom down there, and now it's about to whoop, it just reset, and now it's coming back up again from the left there. That is a revolving 8-minute recording. It's always recording, so it's going to record 8 minutes of the band, the entire band, and then at the end of the 8 minutes, it starts back over, or overwrites that previous file, and it does the next 8 minutes. If at any point I'm like, ooh, I just heard something, I want to keep this, was that an ID, whatever, I have to just hit this record button right here. It keeps not only that recording that I've already heard for that one frequency, but the entire band. So it's like having a DVR for AMDX. I cannot tell you how many times that has been a lifesaver in getting an ID in the logbook, where if I'm DXing in another piece of software, I'm not going to name any by names, I'm just saying another SDR software that doesn't have that feature, I hear an ID, I'm like, oh, what did you say? Oh, it's gone. If I hadn't been recording from the get-go, I've lost it. It's gone. It's in the past. I'm not going to be able to go back in there and get it. With Jaguar, I can. The maps and that feature, that alone changed everything for me. The audio quality in the Jaguar Pro software is unbelievably better than just about anything else out there because it's tuned for AM reception. So that's my 2 cents on the Perseus. Is it worth it by itself? I wouldn't go out and spend $750 on one just to have one if it wasn't for Jaguar. Okay. I have an Elad FDM-S3, which cost more and performs as well or better, but I can't use Jaguar with it. I still use the Elad. As you guys know, I have it here in SDR Console. I use it all the time. I still prefer the Jaguar. Not the Elad over the Perseus, although the performance is as good, if not a little bit better than the Perseus. It comes down to the software for me. Having said that, if you are currently DXing on a portable radio, okay, or one of those RTL SDR or SDR dongles, which they're great for getting started. You probably find out pretty quickly, especially if you live in an area with a lot of RF, they're useless on AM. For any serious DXing, they're pretty useless on AM. You can DX, AM DX, on an RTL SDR dongle. The more stations you have in your area, the less likely you're going to be happy with it and get the DX you're chasing after. Having said that, the AirSpy is the radio that I recommend to anyone diving into SDRs for the first time. It was my first SDR. I recommend it constantly. It's a beast on AMDX. It's absolutely fantastic on AMDX. The SDR Sharp software that's out there with their code channel canceller that they have for AM, that's how I heard Ecuador for the first time. I was able to kind of pseudo-digitally phase out WLAC signal and hear Ecuador underneath. It's a fantastic SDR. The one con, and I've told this to Yusef, the guy from AirSpy, I'm like, this is the only thing that's the sticking point for me on the AirSpy. It doesn't record the entire band. It records I can get up to about half, a little over half of the band. And when they have a little bit of overlap. So usually what I'll do is I'll record like let's say I'm going on a trip and I'm doing a week when I went to California back in December. I did a day where I did the low end of the band, and then the afternoons I did the low end of the band up to like 900 and something, I think it was. Maybe 1,000 or somewhere in there, somewhere kind of in that range. And then on the next day, I did the upper half, and it was from like 800 and something all the way to the top of the band. So I just kind of split it up. So is it the end of the world? No. It's not the end of the world that you can't record the entire band. It'd be nice, but it's not the end of the world. You can get around it. You can work with that. But the performance of it is phenomenal. You can use it with SDR Sharp, their AirSpy software. You can use it with SDR Console. The Jaguar software is just for the Perseus. That's the only radio that you can use Jaguar Pro software with right now is the Perseus. So there you go. And the Jaguar is not a Perseus product. It's actually developed by some folks over in Europe, again, specifically for AMDX. There is a learning curve to it because it's not like any SDR software you've ever used. It's not for shortwave. It's not for FM. It's not for, if you're doing VHF, UHF stuff. It's not for monitoring military communications. It's not for any of that. It's Jaguar is only for AM-DX. That's what it's geared towards. So if you have a Perseus, I highly recommend you go to the web, you do a Google search for Jaguar SDR software. There's a Jaguar Lite. It's a free version. You can kind of try it out, see what you think. And then if you like it, you pay, I think it's $50 or somewhere around there, $60 US. You send them the thing. You say, I want to get the Pro version. I've tried it out. I like it. They give you, you pay it. They give you a key. You plug it in on a file into your folder, and you got Jaguar Pro. So there you go. That's where I'm at. I use Jaguar Pro with my Perseus because it has all the tools I need right there. If I'm DXing portable, or if I'm doing something on my Elad, because my Elad right now has my other two CASs, right? My northwest, southeast, my northeast, southwest. I do use the Elad. I'll usually start recording a file ahead of time if I can, and I can adjust the bandwidth down to just be like just the AM band, basically. That's fine. But it's still, the AirSpy is a fantastic, and if you're getting into an SDRs, that's where I recommend. Another very good one is the SDR Play RSP-DX. A lot of folks, about $200 for that one. The AirSpy is about $160, about $200 for the RSP-DX. A lot of folks, and you guys on the logs, SDR Play is the most commonly used SDR every single week in our medium wave frequency challenge. So you guys are using the hell out of these things right now. I have an RSP-DX sitting up here in my cabinet. It's not currently in use because I have the Elad, I have the Perseus. My AirSpy is my portable one that I'm using, but before I had these two, the Elad and the Perseus, it was the RSP-DX and the AirSpy. That's all I used. And I logged a crap ton of DX on those two. My first Venezuelan was the RSP-DX. My first, I think my Ecuadorian was on the AirSpy because I was using SDR Sharp and the canceller. So yeah, the RSP-DX is a fantastic, and the whole SDR Play suite, like the RSP and the Duo and that kind of stuff. Great radios. Don't get me wrong. I feel like, in my experience, I've gotten better results out of the AirSpy than the RSP-DX. That's not saying the RSP-DX is not a great receiver. Again, I have logged a ton of DX when I was in Charleston on the RSP-DX. I also like the AirSpy. Okay? So if you do the RSP-DX or the RSP Duo, one of those, or if you do the AirSpy, you're going to be happy. The SDR Play are both fantastic. Some things to keep in mind: what antenna are you using? Because that's really the most important part, is what antenna are you using. If you've got an AirSpy or an RSP-DX or a Perseus or whatever it is, and you got a little loop inside your house where the noise is, you're going to think the radio sucks. It's not. Your antenna option is what's holding you back. If you're able to put something outside, even if it's like a little loop antenna on a tripod on your balcony in your apartment, that is an improvement over an antenna inside, or just like 40 feet of wire or 100 feet of wire just kind of randomly out of your window or something. So the antenna is the most important piece here. If you're going to get a SDR receiver, you want to also look at a antenna, preferably something external. AirSpy's U-loop, great antenna. W6 LVP loop, I've got one. I'm about to order a second one here soon. Great antenna. The Wellbrook antennas, you guys use the crap out of those things. Great antenna, okay? A little pricey. If you can afford it, they're a great antenna. The W6 LVP loop, about, $250, $260, I think. The U-loop is like much less. I don't remember exactly what he charges for it these days, but the U-loop that you can get on the AirSpy website, pretty good deal. It's not really one that's made to stay outside. You can make it that way if you do a little reinforcing to it, but the W6 LVP is, the Wellbrook is, the U-loop's usually more indoor or like on a balcony, something like that. You just have to kind of protect the little components, and then you're good. So there you go. That's my rant. I've kind of gone on long enough here. I still use portables, by the way. I have a Sony ICF 2010 I use on the frequent. I have an XH Data D808 I use frequently. I have my Sangean HDR 14 that I use frequently. So I'm not poo-pooing the idea of a portable. However, I know the day that I plugged in my SDR and my W6 LVP loop for the first time, It changed my entire DX life. Instantly changed it. With my W6LVP loop and my SDR here in Mandeville, I logged 200 stations in 1 week. There's no way you can do that on a portable unless you're just not sleeping, right? I logged 200 stations in the span of a week with that combination of an SDR and an outdoor loop antenna sitting at about 10 feet off the ground. And it doesn't even have to be that high, by the way. You can have it basically a foot or two off the ground and you'll still get great results. So there you go. That is my rant. So there you go. Take a look at SDRs. If you're going, don't feel like you have to spend all the money on the expensive stuff, especially if you're getting started out. There'll be time for that down the road. Start out small. AirSpy HF Plus Discovery is a fantastic SDR, and it will teach you everything you need to know. I learned on an AirSpy HF Plus Dual. That's where I learned how to DX SDRs. All right. So here we are. We're still on 1490, our frequency of the week. Let's see what we got going on here right now. If you guys got a frequency that you want me to check out, let me know in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to do that. One last thing on, I'll say one last thing on SDRs. SDR software. Also a very important choice when you're going to be using an SDR is what software you use. Most of your SDRs have a native application that is kind of built for them. SDR Play is called SDR Uno. That's their native application. I like it. It's a little clunky for me because you have all these little tiles and they don't kind of, you know, when you start it up, you have to sometimes move them around, especially if you update, you have to kind of remove them around. It starts on a frequency in a mode that I don't like. It's a little clunky for me. It works great. It's just a little clunky for my taste. I know they're working to improve it, but that's just my personal preference. AirSpy is SDR Sharp. Great little piece of software, a lot of great features packed into that sucker. That's where I learned how to use SDRs, was SDR Sharp. SDR Console is my favorite because I can schedule recordings very easily, more easily in that program than probably any other program I've found. And the ability to navigate through those recordings is, I think, better on SDR Console than on any other SDR program other than Jaguar. That's just my personal preference. The other ones that are out there, Perseus has their own native one that's to Perseus. Elad has their FDM SW2. Great. Both of those are good pieces of software, although I can't get my Perseus software to work anymore for some reason. The Elad FDM SW2 works really, really well once I kind of figured it out. That one took a little longer for me to figure out than some of the others. There's some other ones that are out there too. You can do some searches online for them. One that you'll probably want to check out is called HD SDR. A lot of guys that do FMDX seem to love that one. HD SDR is the name of that particular program, but I have seen a lot of folks who do AMDX also use that software. I think our buddy Bjorn over in Scandinavia might be behind that one, or part of the team that's behind that one. So I have to make sure I mention HD SDR. I have used it quite a bit in the past. It does have the ability to let you schedule recordings as well. You can use RSPDX with it, I think. I know you can use the AirSpy with it. Yeah, they have these things called XTIOs, I think is the shorthand for it, that you have to hit download for all the different radios to get it to work with the software. That's way out of the scope of this particular live stream, but those are some of the ones that are out there. So just so you know, HD SDR and SDR Console are two of the programs you can use with a multitude of different SDRs, and then you have your native software that's there for that particular one. AirSpy has SDR Sharp, SDR Uno with SDR Play, Perseus has the Perseus, Elad has their Elad FDM SW2, and so forth. So there you go. Now my rant on SDRs is complete. Hopefully that has been helpful for all of you. Now I have a lot of catching up to do to see what you guys were talking about in the chat while I was talking. Mike wants to know if I'd be willing to do a Zoom session to talk more about the Jaguar software. I think that's actually not a bad idea. And let me introduce you guys to some of it tonight as well. I'll do a little bit of talking through it tonight as well here to show if you are a Perseus user, because again, Jaguar Pro or Jaguar Lite can only be used with the Perseus SDR. I'll go over some of the things about it tonight that I like. That helps a little bit. And then we'll think about, I've been thinking about doing a video anyway for it and maybe doing some other sessions off the side as well. Okay. All right, so I think I covered most of the questions there. Perseus is the only radio you can use on Jaguar at this time. Can't use it on the AirSpy or any others. That's just a design choice of the Jaguar folks. I've been kind of bending their ear on that for some other options, but they have very strict standards they stick to for whatever radio they're going to plug into their software, and I applaud that. I don't look at that as a deterrent. I applaud it because that it means you get great quality on the outside of it. All right, so I'm going to give you guys kind of the nickel tour of Jaguar here. If you are a Perseus user, which I know we have a couple here that are tonight, again, if you were looking one, don't go on eBay and buy them. They're ridiculously expensive. You can buy them on Ham Radio Outlet for about $750 or so. I think they're the official, because they're now under the umbrella of Elad. I think you can also buy a Perseus from Elad, but I think it goes to the HRO website when you do. But Perseus is now under the Elad umbrella. So don't go out and buy one for like $1,500. They're like $700 and something dollars. I think it's $750 on HRO. So there you go. So let's go ahead and look now at some features here. So a couple of the things that I love about this piece of software. One, the layout is super, super nice. It makes it helps me DX the way that I always wanted to DX. Didn't know that I would ever be able to DX this way, but it's just intuitive to at least how I DX. Not every DXer likes Jaguar when they get in here and play with it, because the learning curve they feel like is a little bit too much. I learned this one in like a day. This one was actually a super easy program to learn for me, because again, it's constructed how I DX. So it helped me out. And there's a lot of features that I don't even use, or I've kind of dabbled in a little bit, that would probably make my life easier. But again, it's kind of how you DX. And so let me show you how I use Jaguar. Number one, up here at the top, you have something called Turtle. Turtle is a station list, and it's broken into regions, just like medium wave list. In fact, I think it's the same information as medium wave list, or it's fed by a lot of the same information. So you've got your offsets, usually will be listed here, where you see like 1489, 9974 for the station in Saskatchewan. That's an offset. So you can, a lot of times, if there's a reported offset, you can see it here. You'll see their power. They have daytime, nighttime power as well, usually listed if there's one that has a difference. The format, the most recently reported format, usually it's pretty up to date. You kind of catch some every once in a while where it's not, but, you know, again, that's where having multiple resources helps. NRC AM radio log, medium wave list, Mesa mics, this list, I kind of use it all, right? And I don't ever, I don't look at this and say, oh, well, there's a talk station I'm hearing. It's got to be Florida. No. Don't believe that until you hear something else to help you. Usually there's some like slogan information or something else here, maybe some network information. This is all data that's being reported by DXers. So this is fed by DX fed data from those of us listening around the world, not just US. So there you go. So that's the Turtle software up here. Some other things that I like, obviously this map is helpful. I use this a lot of times, especially when I'm chasing after Latin Americans, so I kind of know what I have at my disposal, knowing which directions my antenna sits. If I hover over a station, I can see some information about it, like their power, their slogan, their distance from me in kilometers. and also their bearing from my location, because I have my location set up in the software here. Actually, not on that. I'm sorry. Work set. There we go. I have my location set up in here. You can also put in antennas, what antennas you use and their bearing and their beam width. So you can use that to see, okay, I'm on this antenna. I should be hearing this. I haven't added my new one I just put up the other day, but this is my northwest. This is my southeast. This is my northeast. This is my northwest. So it kind of shows you, hey, that's what I should be hearing. And you can set which antenna you're using for like recordings that you're doing. So it kind of says you were using your southeast CAS or your W6LVP loop or whatever. So if you have a directional antenna, like a beverage or a CAS or whatever, this can be something you can use to help you out. The Spectra is your traditional kind of waterfall, but it's super zoomed in. Even if I go out to the widest zoom here, you'll see it only runs about just almost to 500 hertz down and 500 hertz up. So you get to kind of see it there. It's not going to be super wide. And the reason for that is you're looking for offsets. This is an offset killer here. This will help you if you've got one of those that's on a unique offset, be able to kind of squinch in on it. Daily Bench wants to know, is there a good program and antenna for the RTL SDR dongle? SDR Sharp is good for the RTL SDRs. SDR Console can also be used for those as well. Those are both good. Try HD SDR. I haven't played with an RTL SDR dongle with that one, but I think you can. I know SDR Sharp and SDR Console are probably the two main ones. Antenna. I go back to one of those magnetic loops, like a U loop, a W6LVP, a Wellbrook, whatever you can afford in that kind of area. I have one W6LVP at the house. I'm about to add a second one, and I've got a portable one that I use for my portable DX. It's a smaller version. So there you go. So those are just some options for you. Again, with the RTL SDR dongle, though, on medium wave DX, you typically will run into some issues with overloading, especially if you have a lot of RF in your area. AM and FM frequencies will impact that. So keep that in mind. Some other things that are helpful here, some of the audio filters are great. There's an AM mode. You can also do the stock, what they call jazz, or the Calliope. I usually keep it on Calliope. I think it has the best audio for AM DX in my ears. You can work with your AGC. You can do upper and lower sideband. You can, again, down here, this green area, or if it's recording, it's red. If it's in the past, it's blue. This is your way to kind of navigate through a recording, 8 minutes at a time. You can do filters. You can tighten your bandwidth like you would any other SDR as well. You can make quick work of running parallels. So like I was saying earlier, if you were trying to compare 640 and 690, you can use this button here to make quick work of that. You can very easily switch to 9 kilohertz spacing here, which is great because if you see any signals here in between, these ones you see here, I should back up for a second. What you see right here, these little yellow lines, each one of those is a frequency. So it's showing you each of the frequencies in the US and 10 kilohertz spacing here. So I can easily navigate to those, or I can also scroll with my trackpad here to a frequency I want to go to. Or I can go right to it by clicking. And that's what I usually do, is just click on the little yellow button here. You'll notice here, the higher that line is, the stronger the signal. If you start to see it go low, that means there's a less powerful signal there. That comes in handy when I go back to this 9 kilohertz spacing. Any of that you see here that are full, that's 540, that's 630, that's 720. That's where the 9 kilohertz and the 10 kilohertz spacing overlaps. But you'll see in between, you'll see some lines in there. That is a frequency where there's a signal there. Now, sometimes it's just muck. Maybe slop from a local station. Sometimes it's an actual station there. You can always at least click on it, like here, 1323. I can click on it and see if there's anything there. Here's 1314. Do I see anything there? If I don't see anything kind of standing up, that tells me it was probably just mush from an overlapping station that's nearby. But if I go there and I see a nice big signal in the middle, a nice big single peak and maybe something on the waterfall, Now I know I've got something, right? So you don't have to sit there and listen forever and ever and ever to see if you have anything on those splits. This will actually show it to you visually, and then you can use that to explore. A little piece of helpful parts of the Jaguar for those who are trying to get transoceanic, either Atlantic or Pacific stuff. You can also do audio filtering. I don't play with it a ton, but you can kind of filter audio that way as well to kind of tighten in if you want to do it that way. What's some other things that I use on the regular basis here? I think that's most everything. The main things I'm really doing is I'm doing my recordings and things like that. There's ways you can have it scan the recordings, looking for signals and letting you know, hey, I found a signal here, things like that. You can do stuff like that. I haven't really played with that a whole lot, but that is stuff that's there, and so forth. So there's stuff in here on solar conditions. You can actually see it directly in the program. So there you go. So nice. All right, let's go back to our spectra here, which is our waterfall, and let's go back to 1490 kilohertz and see what we got. Again, we are on 1490 kilohertz because that's our new frequency of the week for week 11 of our medium wave frequency challenge. I'm going to go ahead and put the link once again here in the chat for everyone so that if you have anything you're hearing on 1490 or you want to move to 1490 sometime this week and do some DX, there you go. Anything you hear, report it. Let's see what you get. So again, what we're doing here is we're sitting on 1490. Right now we're on our Perseus SDR with our north-south CAS. Let's swap over to our Elad FDM S3 and our CAS antennas. We have two there. We have a northwest-southeast and a northeast-southwest. Let's go to 1490 and let's see what we're hearing over here now. So you see here our SDR Console software we're using with the Elad FDM S3. Right now we're on our northwest wire. Here's our northeast wire. One tip I'll give you guys this week. This is a little tip that I picked up a long time ago. Two things. One, try lower sideband and try upper sideband. Sometimes you'll hear a signal in one that you won't hear in the other. Or you'll hear it better in one than you hear in the other. So if you're having a hard time pulling stuff out, flip back and forth between lower and upper sideband. If you have a local station near you, like on either 1480 or 1500, you can also use those lower sidebands to get rid of the slop. So if you have a local on 1500, use lower sideband that gets you away from the slop on 1500 a bit. If it's on 1490, use upper sideband. Another tip that I always give for Graveyard DX is throw down your gain. You'll see here I'm at negative 16 dB, which is as much as I can attenuate my Elad here. Reduce the gain on your radio or SDRs. Different radios have it different ways. Some don't have it at all. Here on the side of my
Sony ICF 2010. I have a slider right here, and that is my RF gains. On desktop receivers, it's usually a knob that you can turn. In SDR software, such as the SDR Console, you're looking for something called RF gain or maybe attenuation. Any preamps you have, turn those off. If you have like a preamp here, make sure that's off. The reason being, you want to reduce that RF gain a bit. That will reduce the rumble that you hear a bit. I usually like to go like 30, 40 dB down, if I'm being honest. I want it super duper quiet if I have that opportunity to do so. And I can do that a bit here by reducing my visual gain by 30 dB. It's still not really doing a whole lot to help me on the audio side, but yeah, I will reduce that gain as much as I can. I want to pull that way, way down. So that allows those stations that are kind of pulling up and dominating to pull up to the top more, and the rumble stays underneath them. If you don't have that option, turn your volume down a little bit. Headphones, turn your volume down a little bit so that you're kind of just getting whatever's on top as much as possible. Obviously, if you have a portable, turning it and tilting it will help you as well. Those are just a couple of little tips here for working these graveyard frequencies. Those are super, they're challenging. I'm not going to lie to you. That's why they're part of the challenge this week, is because it's a challenging thing to DX, and we're all about stretching and learning and growing here. That's what we're trying to do. So again, I've got my gain as far down as I can possibly get it on this particular SDR. On the Perseus, I can do up to 30 dB of attenuation. And in my Jaguar software, I'll show you really quick. If I'm in my Jaguar software, you'll see, where's it at? I'm going to hit Alt-P. There's 30 dB of attenuation right there. Here it is. It's this little attenuation setting right here. It says ATT3. Well, if I go to Alt-P, now it says 0, so there's no attenuation here. I have a lot of signals in the area. I usually have to at least throw 10 dB in, which is what 1 is. 20 dB is 2, 30 dB on 3. On a graveyard, you're damn right I'm using 30 dB of attenuation to help me pull those signals in. Let me show you an example of what I mean. Let's go full, no attenuation at all. And let me turn my auto gain off. Now I'm going to attenuate 10, 20, 30. Let me turn my auto gain back on. Okay. The auto gain, especially in this piece of software, can play with that a little bit. But let me show you over here in my Elad FDMS3. All right, let me do the attenuation trick over here. There's no attenuation now. We're going to do 6 dB, 12, and 18. Now, again, 18 is not a ton of attenuation. I'd rather back that even further down, but it does help a little bit. Good night, Earl. Take care, my friend. All right, we're going to take a quick break, actually, ourselves here. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've already got one ID on 1490 that we did on the Perseus. We're going to do one this time on the Elad, on the northeast and southeast wires. Northeast and northwest wires, rather. See what we hear. We'll come back. We've got top of the hour alert coming your way. So don't go anywhere. Some great DX is heading your way right here on DX Central Live.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live right here on YouTube every weekend. Before we go too much further, I do want to do a reminder because we've got some folks who just recently joined in. This is our last Saturday night version of DXC Live. We're going to be moving to Sundays. Same time. 7:45 Central Time, 8:45 Eastern, 1:45 UTC. So the same time exactly, but we are moving to Sunday nights. So a little schedule change we have here at the homestead. So we're doing a little schedule change with DXC Live, moving to Sundays starting next week. So this is our last Saturday broadcast. We're moving to Sundays with next week's broadcast. I'll put some reminders out for everybody on social media and whatnot, but this is our final Saturday night broadcast of this season. We're going to be moving to Sunday nights starting next week. You know what time it is, folks? It's time to do some DX right here on our top of the hour alert. And again, this hour of live DX is brought to you by, or has been brought to you by IRCA, International Radio Club of America, IRConline.org is the website. Let's take a look now and see what we got on 1490 kilohertz. Brian, we may actually go back to the expanded band at some point here and do another week of it down the road. So keep tuned on that. We get Bandicam out of the way. Pulling our gain as far down as we possibly can to allow dominant stations to rise up. We're on the northwest wire right now, northeast wire here, and then we still have our Perseus over here running and recording right now, and Jaguar on the north-south wire. Rick says might have a shot at Tupelo, I think, if I remember right. Nope, Houma, Biloxi, and then tonight's Philadelphia. That's what I've gotten so far here on 1490. So Tupelo would be nice. Would love to add Tupelo. All right, getting close to top of the hour time. Let's go silent. Is that KWXT just ID'd? Pretty sure that was them. Yeah, it sounded like that. I remember hearing STXT, and they were doing gospel, so that's... I thought I heard a W in there. It definitely started with a K. So I'm pretty sure that was them. All right, so we're in here. Rick, that was KPLT in Paris, Texas. There was a dual station ID there. And a mention of Paris, Texas. It was KPLT. That was the top of the hour ID that we had in there. At least the one that I heard. I'm going to go back in and review it later to see if there's anybody else in there. Let me also pull up our top of the hour recording that we did here on the Perseus. I want to see if we had anything here. Troy, that's who I heard. Yeah, KPLT. For sure. Let me see what we got on the Perseus here at the top of the hour. Heard a CBS News sounder in there. I think that's them still in there. I'll have to play with it a little bit and listen. But yeah, we got KPLT, so that's 2 new ones that we've gotten now here on 1490 already, as we just have started the challenge. So awesome. Very excited about that. Let's move back over here off of the red alert and get back to our usual blue-green here. All right, so it's been an interesting week. We did the expanded band, which was a tremendous. Again, you guys brought in over 500 stations logged, or 500 loggings at least, on the expanded band in 1 week. Unbelievable response from our frequency challenges last week. Very excited to see what we can pull in here on 1490 this week. Last time we did a graveyarder 1240, you guys were unbelievable at what we brought in, so really excited to see that this week. Don't forget, a reminder, this is our last Saturday broadcast of DX Central Live, because next week we're moving to Sundays. So I'll be posting reminders on social media and so forth, but we are moving to Sunday nights, same time, 1945 Central, 0145 UTC. So the same exact time we've always been doing, but we're going to be on Sunday nights now instead of on Saturdays. So keep that in mind. That starts this next week, February the 6th. That'll be our 5th, rather. That'll be our first week of, actually, I think it is the 6th. Our first week of, shoot, let me look at that. Where's my calendar? Yep, it's the 6th. So I got to go change my Google form thing here. 1 second. My Google form had the wrong date there. Okay, now that's fixed. Okay, so yeah, we are running through the challenge this week. Will start now and run through. So actually started at 0300 UTC, 9 o'clock Central. Runs through 0300 Monday morning, the 7th UTC time, or 9 o'clock on Sunday night. So will Super Bowl week be skipped? I don't know. Probably, maybe. I don't know. It depends on you guys. Let me know what you think. If you want us to do one, we'll do one. I don't care. If it's not the Saints, I don't care who's playing in the Super Bowl this year. Maybe if it's the Bengals, I might want to watch Joe. I don't know. Watch Joe Burrow because he's an old LSU guy. So maybe. We'll see. If you guys want one, we'll do one. Maybe a little shortened one, but we'll think about something in there. But yeah, Sunday nights moving forward. Going to be doing some amateur radio tonight. So any of you that might be hams, a little bit later on tonight. Oh yeah, Rob, you got the Chiefs maybe in there. So we'll see. We'll be doing some amateur radio work tonight on FT8. We got our antenna, our DX Commander antenna back up. And tonight, I finally got the W5GI mystery antenna strung up in the tree. So we're going to be trying that one out tonight. So we'll be doing some ham radio work tonight. A little bit later on this evening. So I'll be announcing on Twitter, twitter.com/DXCentral when we go on to him doing some ham radio, some FT8. And maybe I might go live on YouTube for it. I've been toying with the idea. What do you think? You want to sit here and watch me work FT8 on YouTube and talk about ham radio? Maybe we'll do that too. I don't know. It's all up in the air, folks. We're just having fun. We're flying by the seat of our pants. We'll figure it out. So there you go. We're going to wrap it up here for this edition of DX Central Live. You got the link
In the chat, I'll be putting the link on social media here in a bit as well, and on our Twitter account, twitter.com/DXCentral, for our 1490 medium wave frequency challenge, frequency of the week. Thank you all so much for your continued support. You guys make this happen. We have so much fun on the stream, so much fun watching everybody during the week talk about what they're hearing on our frequency challenge stuff. It's re-energized me on AMDX, and I was already kind of tweaking out anyway, but it's really got me jazzed up here. So again, if you want to do some ham radio work, if you're a ham radio operator, go to Twitter, check me out there. I'll announce when I'm going to do some ham radio work tonight and a little bit tomorrow as well. And maybe we'll throw it here on YouTube and do some stuff live. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Have a great rest of the night, folks. Take care. 73 Best of DX, and we'll see you next week.